Hey everybody, welcome back to the Siren podcast. Today I'm doing something a little different. It is May 4th, so that is National Star Wars Day. The whole May the 4th be with you and all that stuff. So with my podcast, I know that I do so with my podcast, I know that I do a lot of music-based shows and episodes. So I do musicians and people that do other things, but they're still musicians. I want this podcast to be a little bit of everything. So, me personally, I'm into a lot of different areas. I do photography, videography. I'm really into technology, phones, computers, all kinds of stuff. So, conspiracy theories and stuff like that, and current events. I'm into I have a lot of different interests, and I want to go through all of them on here. So, one of my interests is geeky comic book type stuff. So it is Star Wars Day. So if there is anybody that I know personally that I think is the biggest Star Wars person, it's my brother Josh. And so I have him on tonight, and we're just gonna go through and talk about Star Wars. It mainly just turned into us hating on Rian Johnson, the director of The Last Jedi. So I had a problem with it. He had a problem with it. A lot of other people had problem with that movie. So, we'll get into that and stuff. So if this is something you like, make sure and stay tuned. Let me know. Send me a comment down below, or send me a message on Facebook, something like that. I don't care. Just let me know. And I'll be doing all kinds of different things. Still going to be heavily music based, though, but I will be doing other types of podcasts. So if you're not a fan of Star Wars, you don't like Star Wars, you don't like comic book stuff, that stuff's dumb to you, then this is probably not going to be the podcast for you. But while you're here, go and check out one of my other podcasts. I've had some really great guests on here recently. I've had Chad Cox, the Prom Nights. I've had Chad Knight, Forrest Proctor. Waiting for Brantley's going to be on this week later. But go back and check out some of my other podcasts if this isn't something you're into. But if not, thanks for sticking around. And without any further ado, let's just get right into it. All right. So thanks for coming on the podcast. If you don't know already, Josh is my brother. We are related somehow. The 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 jury is still out on how.
There's been some debate in the family exactly what happened, because there's a couple of discrepancies between him and everyone else in the family. Like, for example, see this hair, see how dark it is? Everyone else in our family has this color hair, except him.
Well, I have it now that I'm older.
No, you still don't have it. It's still lighter than, like, this is black. That's like a light brown, but it used to be yellow blonde. We made fun of you because you had the long hair, and it was just like Hanson.
Just like Hanson. Well, Hanson was a big deal back then, so
Yeah, so it was in sync.
whatever. So So today is May the 4th, which is, I don't know if it's been officially deemed this, and I don't know who actually deems something as an official day. So, but it's National Worldwide Star Wars Day. I mean,
Yeah, essentially.
so it's socially deemed, I guess, right? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, it's basically kind of like, hey, it's May the 4th, and there's this really cheesy dad joke about the date, so we're just going to make it Star Wars Day. Of course, Lucasfilm and Disney never really, did anything on Star Wars Day ever. It was always like, oh, it's Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you.
Well,
No trailers, nothing.
It was everybody else doing it, I guess. All the
Except this year.
festivities.
Except this year, where, holy crap, they just decided we're going to release a bunch of stuff. Like, we're going to release like 3 different things that we all think you'll be interested in. And it's like, that never happens.
So, what are they releasing?
They're releasing The Rise of Skywalker on Disney Plus,
Okay.
which is still 2 months earlier than it was supposed to be on Disney Plus. Just like they released, the on demand 2 months early. So they went ahead and released it on Disney Plus. Plus, they're releasing the last episode of the Clone Wars series, which they intentionally timed out for this. Actually, they're skipping it early to make it land on it. And then there's this Mandalorian behind the scenes thing because everyone wants more info about the Mandalorian. Because apparently, Dave Filoni was like, hey, let's make this show about a character no one's ever seen. And unlike every other Star Wars property, it's pretty much the fan base looked at that and went, yep, we like that. That never happens, ever. It's always like, you got either, like, the majority of people are like, oh, that was awesome. But there's always the other people like, man, nah, that sucks. It's nothing like the original trilogy. For some reason, literally every single person, it doesn't matter if they've watched Star Wars their entire lives or never watched it, they've seen Mandalorian, are like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
There's no negative people. It's the weirdest thing.
Well,
and
I could tell you, the Mandalorian, here's what pissed me off about the Mandalorian. They spent the first, I don't know, 8 episodes, however many episodes there were, and they're like, take your helmet off. And he's like, I never take my helmet off. Ever. I never take my helmet off. And then just randomly, they're just like talking one day, and they're like, oh, by the way, I'm going to take his helmet off and show the guy's face for a couple seconds. And it was like, what? Okay.
Well,
you're supposed
he had a head injury that he would bleed out from if, IG-11 didn't fix.
I know, but they just showed it, and it didn't affect the story. Yeah. It wasn't like a reveal. It was just like, oh, we've been teasing this whole time about not showing his face, and then just randomly they're like, oh, here's his face.
Yeah, no, it's the weirdest thing. It was just like, I'll admit, it was one of those things that's like, kind of like, Fox Mulder and Dana, Fox Mulder and Scully, they never got together.
Yeah.
And it was always like this like little thing like, will they, won't they? It's like, built up over the whole series. Or it was kind of like if they ever, and then all of a sudden they do it and you're like, oh, it's...
Did they?
Okay.
I don't remember them getting together. And I've watched all
Actually, I saw the episode. They actually end up, they're in a hallway, and they finally kiss, and you're like, oh, yeah. And then, like, all of a sudden, Scully, like, collapses from, like, something. I forget what it was. Like, there was some kind of setup thing that she got something, like a disease or something. And all of a sudden, she collapses immediately after it happens.
Well... That's suspense. That's suspense. So, yeah, the thing about X-Files is Scully sees aliens, sees monsters, gets, abducted by aliens, and then the next episode, Mulder's like, hey, there's something fishy about what's going on. And she's like, no, no, it's not. It couldn't be aliens. It couldn't be a monster. It couldn't be an alien. No possible way. I mean, I did see aliens for the past 10 years, but not this time. Not this time. It's a 100% not an alien.
Yeah, exactly. It's like season 1 has the freaking monster that's like rolling around in the sewer and has like the suction cup mouth thing or whatever.
I don't
That's
remember.
season 1, and she sees it. It's not like she. It's not like it was like, oh, the whole episode, like they know it exists, they think it exists, and all these people see it. Fox sees it, and then all of a sudden she just never sees it. No, they have a whole scene about halfway through the episode. She sees it, but yet still is forever skeptical.
She's like, no, it was probably a reflection in the water. It wasn't real. So look,
It was like,
here we got on to X-Files for some reason, but this is Star Wars, so we're going to talk Star Wars. This is the argument we've been having, and you guys get down in the comments below and say what your opinion is on this. But for some reason, during the episodes of Star Wars, the later ones, no one knows who the Jedi are. They're like, Han Solo says, like, you believe in all that, or somebody said, you believe in all that old religions, and even
all of it.
Yeah, and then one of the guys, when Darth Vader's about to choke him out, he's like, "You still believe in those old, religions and stuff." After Darth Vader has literally choked a guy out using the Force, but nobody remembers it for some reason. And Josh seems to think that it's 100% possible for them to forget about Jedi in 15 years. So explain why you think that you can forget about.
No, they didn't forget about Jedi, but you gotta think. There were only about 10,000 Jedi total. There were about, 115 billion people or something on Coruscant alone?
Yeah.
That's a lot of people compared to 10,000.
Yeah.
And after about 20 years, where every single person, all of those guys who are in that room are probably in their 30s, with the exception of, I forget the name of the guy, but the guy in the white suit. There's the old guy in the white suit and Grand Moff Tarkin. They are the only ones who were alive and old enough to not be like kids when the Clone Wars happened. Everyone else in that room was like 30. So you got to think. So there's 10-year-olds, and they didn't care about politics. They didn't care about. All they knew there was a war. They may have heard of Jedi, but once the Clone Wars ended, the Empire basically wiped out the Jedi and then changed the narrative to, oh yeah, there were these Jedi, they were religion, and they betrayed. They knocked it down to, instead of it being, oh, space wizards who actually could do stuff, they said, oh, it was just these religious zealots who betrayed us.
So like you said, there was, 150 billion people on Coruscant?
Mm-hmm.
So all 150 people of those knew that those were essentially the security for the entire Senate on there. Everybody knew about the Jedi. Anytime someone shows up in any of the movies and they go, oh, you got a lightsaber, you're a Jedi, in the old movies, everybody knows who it is. Mm-hmm. Now, just because there were only 6,000 of them doesn't mean that the 150 billion or whatever people forget about them.
No,
in
they didn't forget about
years.
But here you also got, it's not 15, it's 20.
20, okay, in 20 years.
But let me ask you this. Do you remember, do anyone...
What I'm saying is, how can they say that they don't, how can anyone even think that that's not a real thing?
Because the Empire is very good at propaganda. They even show it in Rebels super crazy hard, that literally every day the Empire sends out a broadcast that's basically, hey, you're all great. Everything's great. The Empire's doing amazing.
Wasn't
as far as most people, the average person is considered, the Empire's not evil.
but we do have episodes in between, right? So, well, Rogue One is right before it, and then Solo
Rebels takes place in between. Solo takes place like 10 years before New Hope.
Rebels, are there Jedi and Rebels?
There is a Jedi, and there are 3 Force-sensitive people in the series.
And so, what is that? 10 years afterwards, they had already forgotten by then.
People, even the Jedi, even the other Force-sensitive people, don't realize that person is Force-sensitive. We know because she's in Clone Wars. Ahsoka is in there. The other people in the show do not know she's a Force user because she's. I'm trying not to because you haven't seen Clone Wars.
Well, look,
you don't know the whole.
The thing is something that happens 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I was in. What was 2002? I was in 8th grade. 20 years ago.
You were about the age of someone who would have been. You were about the age that somebody who was an adult in A New Hope would have been during the Clone Wars.
So, Han Solo.
Yeah.
So, I remember 20 years ago.
Han Solo, but here's the thing about Han Solo. He was not he wasn't on Coruscant. He wasn't part of anything. He was on Corellia. Corellia was basically just what it was forever. They built ships. But it wasn't like he was like one of the poor street rats running around doing stuff. He didn't know jack about any of the stuff going on. It's plausible he never heard of the Jedi. Now, like I said, the Empire
they were ruling the galaxy.
They were not ruling.
Hang on, who was though? In the episode 2 and 3, Palpatine becomes the Senate, right? And the Senate rules.
I am the Senate.
Yes, and the Senate rules everybody, right? In the galaxy.
No, they didn't abolish the Senate until A New Hope.
But the Senate is there, and who works for the Senate?
The Jedi.
Okay, so everybody knows. That's like saying.
But they also said the Jedi.
No. Here's what it is. Today,
Republic.
Say in 2000, in the year 2000, somebody got rid of the Secret Service, right? So there's 7 billion people on Earth, and there's probably 50 Secret Service or 100 Secret Service members. So you're telling me that today it would be possible for someone to go, there was never Secret Service members. That's not real. There's no way to prove it either. No.
They never say it's not real. Never in A New Hope do they go, oh no, what's a Jedi? Or the Jedi don't exist. They refer to it as an ancient religion.
I know, but they're saying it's like they're saying it in a mocking way. You still believe in all that shit?
Care. They don't care. They're like, oh yeah, the Jedi, those guys that tried to betray us, and we just.
But listen, you got to think. You got to think though. The people that run this evil empire aren't trying to learn how to choke people and make things float and throw laser swords around.
Well, actually, that's when you bring in the Inquisitors that are actually Force-sensitive dudes working along with the Empire in Rebels and trying to hunt down the main characters of the Rebels TV show. I've only gotten to about season 3, and there's already been 3 of the suckers.
I haven't watched any of them because I can't get down with the cartoon. It's just not the art style of it. Just drives me crazy. I feel like I'm watching a Disney Channel. Like if it was just a cartoon, it would be better. If it was straight up like Futurama or Family Guy, I could watch it. But it's animated like Bob the Builder or something, like goofy looking kids. Like they look like those little kid toys you get. Yeah, they got like.
Okay, skip the first 2 seasons of Clone Wars. Start watching with season 3. That's when they bring in. There's 4 clones, one of which factors in heavily into the series. But at season 3, it suddenly takes a turn for really good. We're talking they bring in the daggum Mandalorians, and particularly the Death Watch. Now it gets really, really, really good, and they like delve into like deep Jedi, kind of like the mysticism of the Force, and they go really deep into it, and like Force visions and stuff with Anakin. It's crazy. It gets really good in the last couple of episodes they've aired. Oh man, they're just amazing.
So that takes place between episode 2 and 3.
Clone Wars 2 and 3, yeah. Literally, the last 4 episodes are occurring parallel to episode 3.
Oh.
So the last 4 episodes are actually, they start off the episode, and all those Jedi to get gunned down in Order 66? They show each one of them in the opening thing, like, these guys are heading to whatever, the opening crawl thing, and it shows each one of them heading to their respective planets that they're about to die on.
Oh.
And then they keep having, like, little things where everyone pops in, is like, oh, we're going to, Separatists have showed up above Coruscant. We all got to go fight them there. And so while they're doing everything that's happening in episode 3, Clone Wars is following Ahsoka and doing all the stuff that she's doing over on Mandalore with a group of Mandalorians who are trying to take Mandalore back from Darth Maul.
But Darth Maul's already died in the series.
Not in the Clone Wars.
Oh, he dies in Rebels.
That was in Rebels. So later he dies.
Why would they why would they do that? Why bring him back in the stupid cartoon and then kill him in the cartoon? Bring him back and make another movie about him. I mean, if there was ever a Star Wars character, I mean,
dude, they really build on Darth Maul in the Clone Wars series. They make him this
like a robot,
absurd, just absurdly powerful, like you expect him to be.
So, do they give him a real name? I'm assuming Darth Maul is his like.
Nope, he's Maul. He's not called Darth Maul. He's just Maul.
Oh,
they don't give him a name. Not like his brother Savage Opress.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So he's like Cher.
Yeah, his name is just Maul. That's all they refer to him as.
Huh. Well, there you go. And another thing, where does Star Wars get off naming, you have Darth Tyrannus, and you're like, that's a badass sounding name. Darth Tyrannus, like tyrannical, and then all through the movie they refer to him as Dooku, which is very fucking close to doo-doo. So
I know.
Whenever you see like Yoda, he comes in and he's like, they say their names back at each other. It's like Yoda. He goes, Dooku. So stupid. Somebody had to have been sitting there going, there was some like younger intern like getting coffee for someone when they were like, we should call him Dooku. And the guy was sitting there just going, don't do it.
It was George Lucas that was sitting there, and he was like, that sounds great, because George Lucas has great ideas. If you need him to write the basic plot of the movie, go ahead. And then you get someone like Dave Filoni to then come in and say, all right, here's what they're actually going to say.
Look,
it's like
here's what I think should have happened, and this is my favorite theory. And you can pick after this. You can say your favorite theory in Star Wars. My favorite theory is Darth Jar Jar. And for people that don't know about this theory, is so Jar Jar Binks was the most annoying character in the series. He did stupid stuff. He was a cartoon. And, even it was so annoying that the actor, right, got like threats against his life or something.
Like
right?
he legit was he like legit got suicidal for a bit, like that badly.
Yeah, so it was so bad. People hated Jar Jar Binks so bad. He was in the episode 1. He's the thing that always said Misa, whatever. He's like a clumsy looking thing. Anyways, so the theory is that you never see Yoda and Jar Jar together, or him really around any other powerful type Jedis. So what was supposed to happen is the hidden in episode 2 and 3, he was supposed to be the Sith that they were looking for, the Sith that came in twos. And so you can imagine, like, say, the big twist in Empire where he's like, Luke, well, he doesn't actually say, Luke, I am your father. He just says, no, I am your father. He says, no, I am your father. And then that's like the big twist. No one knew that was coming. It blew everybody's minds. Now it's like commonplace. But imagine, Yoda walks up and then Jar Jar's standing there, and then all of a sudden, like, his voice just drops into like a regular voice, and he's like
Yoda notices him and he goes, like, says something like whatever his real name was supposed to be, because it clearly wasn't going to be Jar Jar. It was going to be like, maybe it was supposed to be Tyrannus. It's like, Tyrannus. And all of a sudden, Obi-Wan and Anakin like look over at Jar Jar like, what?
Yeah.
And then Jar Jar turns around like, Yoda.
Yeah.
Like, what?
See, that would have been awesome. I think George Lucas put the movie out and people hated him so much he backed out and put in Count Dooku, which sucked. He was terrible. He was a terrible villain in the movies. But see, the reason there's like theories to support this is because like it shows him, like, when they jump into the pond to go swimming down to the Gungans little city under there, it shows him like jumping way up in the air like a Jedi would. There's all kinds of stuff, and his style was supposed to be like drunken master, kind of like the people that get drunk and fight.
He's intentionally moving around like he doesn't know what he's doing, but he really knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and
like there was another scene where they jump down. There's a bunch of droids and stuff coming up, and they've got Padme captured, and they all jump down from this like little overing, like a bridge, and that's a bunch of windows. They jump down to fight them. You see Jar Jar, he drops down, but he loses his balance and kind of grabs the window and swings for a second. And the thing is he falls like, and it's just barely hanging, but he jumps from there and goes way over to the other side. And the way you know he did it, because you see one of the robots, one of the droids, literally track him all the way over to the other side. To where he made like a 30-foot jump the opposite of the direction he was going to fall.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Like when he's when Jar Jar's in the battle, he's being like shot at, but the whole time he's being super clumsy, but he takes out more of the battle droids than any of the other people. Yeah. Like he's knocking tanks over by like just like hanging on them, and like, oops, I dropped all these ball things, and he just takes out like the army. It's essentially him. And he has the thing stuck on his foot, like the gun stuck on his foot, and he's like jumping around shooting people. Like that, to me, that's my favorite Star Wars theory, because that would have really been awesome if they did that. They didn't. They did Dooku. I think George Lucas got cold feet and backed out. So look, go and check out Darth Jar Jar theory. It is literally the best one. What's yours though?
That would actually be my favorite. I would have loved to have seen that. That would have been all kinds of dope. But
you do got to be careful when talking about theories, because if you say one that's like really good and interesting and Disney hears about it, they will they'll do the exact opposite. So If you haven't seen The Last Jedi, that's exactly what happened. I mean, Luke Skywalker, the main everybody knows Luke Skywalker. He is the centerpiece of Star Wars. Calls a lightsaber a laser sword.
It's like, I get what he was trying to do there. He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna run down with a laser sword." Like, he was trying to infantilize the idea of how stupid of an idea it would be for him to try to do that.
Yeah.
The thing is, he's never heard it referred to as a laser sword. Literally, the first time he has ever seen one of these things, the first time he ever touched one was when Obi-Wan hands him one. He goes, "What's this?" "It's a lightsaber."
So,
and then he turns it on, and you're like, he's never heard it referred to as anything else.
Do they even have lasers? Is that a word in Star Wars?
Anakin, when he's a kid in Episode 1, says laser sword.
Does he? Oh,
mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's where that comes from. The idea is Rian Johnson's idea that he did not implement correctly, like the entirety of The Last Jedi.
Oh my God, I cannot believe it. You can ask my wife that. She would just get so mad at me. She was like, "Why does that make you so mad?" And I'm like, "Look, it's Star Wars. There's only 3 left, and you ruined one. There's not any more. I mean, if there are, it's not going to be following this storyline."
No, they've pretty much said that's the end of the Skywalker. There's been rumors they're going to continue it, but I think they're going to basically cut it off, and it's not going to be, if they continue it won't be considered part of the Skywalker saga. It'll just continue from. I just want them to go further into the future. Personally, I'm kind of getting annoyed with everything being, "Oh, this is between these."
This happened in the past.
This happened in the past, in between these 2 stories you've already seen.
They either need to go all the way back to the Old Republic where everybody had lightsabers, like everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Look. Your shirt right now is Darth Vader holding a lightsaber. The front of Return of the Jedi here, right? Return of the Jedi. He's holding a lightsaber. Here's the movie set. All right, he's holding a lightsaber. See? Lightsaber. You look at the back, it just shows action scenes of people. It's action scenes of people using lightsabers. The other one, lightsabers. Okay, so
that's the iconic weapon of Star Wars.
And then in all the new movies, they barely fucking use them. Like they're like, "Hey, I see you got a lightsaber," and they're like, "Yeah, we should not use this at all. Let's not use lightsabers. Let's talk about you know what? You know what we should do better? Talk. Let's talk about things."
See, not having a lightsaber in, like, The Mandalorian, that makes sense.
Yeah, so that makes complete sense. In the Solo movie, no lightsabers, fine. But in the Luke Skywalker Jedi movie, Star Wars about Jedi, you need lightsabers.
Mm-hmm.
And not, I watched a video where they were talking about
how Disney doesn't know how to use lightsabers.
Yes, I sent that to you, and it had
I saw it independently because I watch way too much Star Wars content on YouTube when I watch YouTube.
But essentially, it was I don't remember what they were saying, but it was like hard to use or something, and then just like Finn just picks it up and uses it, and then Rey picks it up and she's a badass with it, and.
No, that was the one. That is probably Force Awakens. I kind of was okay with. I did mention that, like, the first 30 minutes when Rey's running around the desert, I was sitting there thinking to myself, I should care about what's going on, but I just don't.
Yeah.
But aside from that, that was one thing that really kind of was annoying to me because, no, there is no freaking way. Rey, you can go, okay, well, now that we know she's a Palpatine, okay, maybe that was why she was able to, beat Kylo for the most part because he was injured and all that. There ain't no friggin' way Finn would have lasted 3 seconds against Kylo Ren. I don't care how hurt Kylo Ren is. Okay? Here's what would happen. It would literally be Finn comes at him, Kylo Ren just goes. Finn swings, Kylo Ren turns and cuts his head off. That's it. That is it. There is no other thing that should have happened other than Kylo Ren, either that or Kylo Ren like takes his finger and goes, and then Finn goes flying that way and drops the lightsaber. There is no reason he should have ever had a snowball's chance against Kylo Ren.
I mean, neither should Ray. Ray shouldn't have. It's just, I don't know, man. They should have just done something different. Trained her, or I don't know. I don't know what they should have done. But the first movie was fine, I guess. Like, if they would have set it up like everybody thought it was going to be. It came out and it was like, oh, so it set up all these things that we need to figure out.
Yeah, and that was awesome.
Like,
it's because, okay, we're supposed to pass.
Yeah, we're supposed to find out who her parents were. And then, which, if it was up to Rian Johnson, they would have kept that. The reason why that changed was because J.J. Abrams was like, "No, you can't not tell. You can't tell him it's nobody." But
no,
we're supposed to find that out, and we're supposed to find out the Knights of Ren. What happened with that? Do they just never talk about it? They show up at the very end, and then Kylo Ren kills them. Knights of Ren, like literally.
Although you got to admit, when he gets the lightsaber and he does that little shoulder shrug, just like Han Solo, that was kind of dope. Like, here's the thing that I hate is the people who apologize for Last Jedi and say, "Oh, it's not a bad movie. Anyone could be a Force user." I'm like, yeah, except the entirety of everything you have been told about Star Wars has been the Skywalker lineage is extremely important to the story. The fact that Luke is so powerful is because Darth Vader is so powerful. Because Anakin Skywalker was so powerful. Therefore, this is why it's about the family. It's specifically about the Skywalker family. It's not even science fiction, really. It's science fantasy. And guess what they do in science and fantasy all the time?
What's that?
The kings and queens and their genealogy is extremely important. That's where that comes from. That's like the whole glue of the story of why we're following these people. It's because they're Skywalkers. Which is kind of annoying that at the end, all the Skywalkers are dead and a Palpatine is the one who survived.
Yeah. He's like, "What's your name?" She's like, Skywalker. She's like, "No, you aren't, bitch. I know you aren't. They're all dead."
Oh, I just kind of think that I just imagine Anakin whenever he sees his lightsaber being buried in sand, because Anakin hates sand.
Whatever. That's a weak joke.
That's a very weak joke, but it's still kind of funny to me.
But yeah. So I mean, it could have, if this was any other series like Stargate or any other kind of sci-fi thing, I could understand it not hitting the mark. But the biggest movie franchise of all time, really?
Yeah. And you know something that's awesome? Now that they've seen that basically the Clone Wars, this last season of Clone Wars, has also been unanimously liked by the fans. Like, all the fans who have watched the most recent episodes of Clone Wars are all like, "Oh, these are great." And also with the Mandalorian, everyone going, "These are great," because they're all Dave Filoni. And when the Mandalorian, it's what's his name? The guy who plays Happy.
Favreau. They
basically have handed Star Wars to Dave Filoni and Favreau and said, and it's the new CEO that Disney is doing it, is basically said, "Yeah, Kathleen Kennedy doesn't have full control anymore. It's going to be these two guys who clearly know how to make good Star Wars content that people will like.
Well, I mean, that's what they do with Marvel. They have Kevin Feige that does everything. He's like the head of it. And then other people direct and stuff, but he's like the head of Marvel Studios, I guess, right? You know, and
that's what Kathleen Kennedy was.
Yeah,
but Star Wars.
Yeah, they need to just get her out of there.
That's basically what, when the new CEO came in, I forget what his name is, of Disney, he was like, yeah, Dave Filoni and Favreau, y'all two are going to take over Star Wars now. He's basically cut Kathleen Kennedy out. And
well,
it's about dang time, because she just hasn't. You don't go into a series like that without a plan of any kind. Like, they didn't have a single plan. They basically said, JJ, write a script. He wrote a script. He wrote treatments for the other two movies. And then the next guy came along. He's like, oh, okay, so this is kind of what you were planning? Cool. Nope.
Nope. He was like, you know what? I'm going to go online and see what everybody's saying. And he's like, oh, that looks like a really good plan. Nope, not that. Oh, that looks good. Nope, not that. All right, so now that I've done everything that everybody said on the internet already, now I'm going to do something completely opposite to shock them in the box office. And it was...
subvert expectations.
Yes, it was a complete shit show.
Yeah. That's the reason why every time I refer to Rian Johnson online, I'm like, it's Rian subvert expectations Johnson, because that's all he did the entire movie. And it's like, that's fine. I was cool with Luke Skywalker tossing the lightsaber over his shoulder. But then they did literally every single thing. Like, I liked whenever, not liked, but it was like a gut punch whenever the bridge gets blown out and it just sucks Princess Leia out.
Yeah.
Like, that was a gut punch. I was like, holy crap. Like, that literally slapped me in the face. And then, oh no, she's not dead.
She floated back in.
She's okay.
That's a new power they got. Yeah, so the Rise of Skywalker should have been part 1, part 2, and 3. They should have added more to it. And look, here's the biggest question, and no one's asking this question anywhere. I don't see the question being asked. Is where is Luke's green lightsaber?
That's something I have been wondering too, because it made no sense. It made zero appearance. I wanted to see where the mechanical pencil one was.
The mechanical pencil. But like,
have you ever looked at the inside of a mechanical pencil, like you lift it up after you take the little cap off? It is the same dang shape as the tip of his lightsaber.
I've never noticed that.
I did.
Yeah,
but that's because
you would.
I would. Yeah.
So, where was it last? He had it right at the end of.
He had it. Oh no! It did show up. It was. He used it when he was fighting Kylo Ren. Remember whenever he's standing above him in Last Jedi?
Oh, yeah.
He has it there. That's the last time you see it.
Well, where is it?
That's a good question.
Yeah, and then Rey Skywalker, which is ridiculous. She should have just been Luke's daughter or Han Solo's daughter or something. You know, like Leia's daughter.
Something. It should have been something. Heck, I would have accepted that he's technically a Skywalker because she's the like great granddaughter of Shmi and Owen, not Owen, and the Lars that she married. Remember in episode 2?
Yeah,
where they go and meet Anakin's family, who Shmi had married into.
So did they explain? I mean,
when he went and met his aunt and uncle when they were young.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, that was in episode 2.
Yeah, like
or 3.
Shmi and dude, like Anakin's mother and his stepdad had a kid, I would have accepted that. That would have been fine with me.
Yeah.
Because it technically is the same lineage, but then again...
Well, so, I mean, they had the good theory about her being Obi-Wan's daughter because she had a British accent.
Yeah.
And so did Obi-Wan, but no one else had those. They had regular accents.
I never really liked it for the Obi-Wan thing because it was just a little too... The story is about the Skywalkers.
Yeah.
Now, episodes 1, 2, and 3, Anakin is almost sort of like the second character until episode 3, of course. And then they're both about equal. But it's about what happened with the Skywalker family. Okay?
Yeah.
That's what it's about. It's about Anakin, then it's about Luke, and then it's about who it should be about? Rey. So just by switching it to where the bad guy is essentially a Skywalker was kind of annoying. Because the whole thing is supposed to be about the Skywalker line. So the third movie should have been Luke's daughter. It was sitting there right in front of them. It's like the first movie is the father, the son, and the daughter. What should the third movie be? Just the daughter, or could it? But mainly, the second series was mainly about the son, but the son and daughter. But
the father, the son, and then the son's daughter. The lineage.
The Skywalkers. That's like the whole thing.
Well, you have the rise of Skywalker.
Saga.
Because
no, it's not the Skywalker saga. It's the Skywalker 3/4 saga, and then the Palpatine saga.
That they just throw in the last movie. They're like, by the way, the bad guy from the last two movies,
who we haven't mentioned at all.
He's not in here anymore. It's actually Palpatine. We just haven't mentioned him at all in the past two movies. Surprise!
And then they don't explain how the heck he survived that obvious fall from it. I mean, well, nevertheless, people don't die when they fall down big infinite holes anyway in Star Wars. So
well, they come out onto antennas and stuff.
Yeah, they never. No one dies when they fall down a big hole in Star Wars. Darth Maul didn't. And he was cut in half.
Well, I watched. I went back and rewatched the original trilogy, and when Luke falls down that hole, he's just falling, and then all of a sudden he just like starts sliding. It's like
no, there's a bunch of pits. That was like the garbage chute.
I know, but he didn't like slam into the wall. He just like slid into it. And
well, there's a theory he used the Force to. Anytime there's something that doesn't make sense in Star Wars, here's the thing. If you can easily say he used the Force to adjust his trajectory, basically anything that doesn't make sense in Star Wars, you can almost always say, hey, well, he used the Force to do such and such so that it worked out. You can do that in every Star Wars movie except one. Guess which one?
I don't know. The one with
Last Jedi.
Because nobody.
Every stupid thing happening in that movie, you can't just say, "Oh, well, they used the Force and that caused it to, this to happen." It's like, no, that was just stupid.
Well, I mean, they needed to go to that planet, to the casino planet. That was that was a necessary 30 minutes of the movie.
It had no bearing on the ending of the movie whatsoever. They absolutely fail once they get back to the Star Destroyer, which, by the way,
and Phasma, they completely.
If they could hyperspace away from the carrier without the First Order or even the people on the dang ship knowing, why didn't they just do that with a bunch of small ships? They can hyperspace away and hyperspace back. Why not just do that? Load a bunch of people on a ship, hyperspace to the nearest planet, drop people off, hyperspace back, pick up some more people, hyperspace away. Clearly they got fuel to do that.
Well, I mean, that's because the guy that made the movie, just didn't know it. I don't know. Wasn't good.
It's
Wasn't
like
good.
it's like it literally. That's the kind of thing that's. I will give Last Jedi one thing. That opening sequence where Poe just does some kind of crazy sideways spin move to take out a bunch of TIE fighters. That was dope.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there were good parts in the series. I mean, the very beginning of The Force Awakens, when it first came on, I was like, dude, this is gonna be badass. He walks up, shoots him with a laser or blaster, and Kylo Ren just stands there and stops it, like in midair with the Force, and it's just sitting there, and you're like, dude, that is sick. That's badass.
It's awesome.
And then he starts talking. He's menacing with his stuff, and you're like, he might be a pretty scary villain. Then he's got the hood up and all that stuff, and then after he does all the talking, he leaves, and then the blaster goes and hits whatever it was going to. So you sit there and think, like he's got to be really badass with the Force to hold it there while talking and doing other stuff, and then when he's done, he just lets it go. And then that was it for him. He takes off his hat and he looks like Karen, like one of those ladies that complain about everything. It was like Darth Vader cuts his hair up to the top. That's what every time I saw it, I was like, why is it cut up so short on his helmet? It looks badass when he's got the hood over it, but his helmet looks stupid to me. And then the whole time, and you like Adam Driver, I thought he did a not good job. He's just a whiny crybaby, non-scary kid. Darth Vader didn't say anything. Darth Vader was like, hey, do this, get that person, I'm about to kill you, and then he was just like, but why can't I be good? He just cried all the movies. He was just mad, beating things up. He was like a little kid. He wasn't scary, he wasn't intimidating. He was just like the rich kid that you kind of have to respect because like he's got all the cool stuff, that's how he was. Like he's the boss, so people have to be kind of respectful of him, but nobody actually truly was scared of Kylo Ren kicking their ass like they would be scared of Darth Vader choking them the fuck out, which he does. Someone talks back to Darth Vader, he chokes him out, and Kylo Ren gets mad and punches the wall and breaks his helmet like a child. That's my rant on Kylo Ren. Well, so we're having a little bit of connection issues here, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. But it was cool talking Star Wars and all of that stuff, sir.
It was awesome.
So, yeah, I know I usually don't do... I usually do... I usually do... I usually do music podcasts, but I am wanting to expand and do other things as well. So music, I guess nerdy stuff like Star Wars and Star Trek, conspiracy theories, current events, all kinds of things like that. Technology as well. So I'm moving into different areas. So if you all at home want to see more of this type of podcast, leave a comment or a like or let me know, and I'll do more or do less of them. I mean, I'm going to do whatever I want, actually, but if you want to see more, I'll do more. How about that? Okay. Well, yeah, sorry about the connection issues. We'll do another one for sure, but we'll do something way cooler.
Yeah, maybe it'll be easier this once all of the stay-at-home orders and all this
yes, so
crap is out of the way. I can just come there.
Yeah, I'm actually building. Gonna build a little room to host the podcast in. So I have a table and all that stuff. So that'll be coming up soon, hopefully. And then then I can just have guests and everybody in one room, because this whole talking over the phone does get weird and awkward sometimes. But yeah, so we'll do it again. Rian Johnson ruined Star Wars is the theme of tonight.
Pretty much. No, he didn't ruin it.
He ruined a movie.
He subverted our expectations in the wrong direction.
Which ruined the whole movie.
Ruined it.
Yeah, so
it's bad when you retroactively ruin the next movie because you so badly fumbled the movie you did.
Yeah. Well, whatever it is, it's Star Wars Day. Of course, for Star Wars Day, I had to have on my brother, the Star Wars guy. So, how about this? Well, maybe we could have some sort of try to stump Josh with Star Wars trivia.
Oh no, I'm not that good. I'm pretty good.
Well, we'll do something. We'll do something like that. Maybe on the next one. Well, I'll be thinking about it. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up, and we'll do it again sometime. Cool.
All right, sounds like awesome.
All right, man. I'll talk with you soon. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.